In this video, you're going to master the difference between saber and conocer. As an intermediate learner, you've seen these verbs before, and you know that they can both mean to know, but what's the difference exactly? For example, is it ¿Conoces dónde está la tienda? Or is it ¿Sabes dónde está la tienda? Are both of these phrases equally correct in asking where the store is? Well, we'll come back to this example later at the end of the video, and at that point it should be pretty clear which phrase is right. So to start off, let's look at saber. The verb saber is used when you're talking about knowing a few different things. So for example, information. ¿Sabes si hay un colectivo a las 10? Do you know if there's a bus at 10? The time that the bus comes is specific information that someone might have. Knowing facts. No sé por qué lo despidieron. I don't know why they fired him. I don't know this fact. Knowing how to do something. Los niños saben nadar bien. The kids know how to swim well. Always use saber when you're talking about knowing how to do something. Right, now let's look at conocer. We use conocer when we mean to know in the sense of being familiar with something, such as people. ¿Conoces a la novia de Juan? Do you know Juan's girlfriend? With people, conocer also means to meet someone for the first time. Like if I said, voy a conocer la novia de Juan mañana. I'm saying I'm going to meet Juan's girlfriend tomorrow for the first time. Being familiar with places. Conozco Playa del Carmen. I know Playa del Carmen, or I've been there before. Being familiar with things. No conocen las comidas típicas. They don't know the typical foods. In English, you could also say something like, they aren't familiar with the typical foods. So in all of these cases, even though sometimes in English we would say simply to know, what we really mean is being familiar with a person, a place, or a thing. Now let's look at some examples contrasting the two verbs, contrasting saber and conocer. In particular, where intermediate learners get confused is when we talk about knowing things. Alright, so, el abogado conoce las leyes que protegen a las mujeres y sabe aplicarlas. Let me read this one more time. El abogado conoce las leyes que protegen a las mujeres y sabe aplicarlas. So the lawyer knows the laws that protect women, and he knows how to apply them. So when we say that the lawyer knows the laws, what we mean is that he's familiar with them. He knows what they are. El abogado conoce las leyes. But the lawyer also knows how to apply them well. He knows how to apply them. So we use saber for this very specific use of knowing how to do something, how to apply them. Sabe aplicarlas. Here he's not talking about knowing the laws, he's talking about knowing how to do something with the laws. It's quite different. Let's look at a more complicated example now, where the difference between saber and conocer is very subtle. No conocen el origen del virus, pero saben que se transmite por los mosquitos. No conocen el origen del virus, pero saben que se transmite por los mosquitos. They don't know the origin of the virus, but they know it's transmitted by mosquitoes. Okay, so the origin doesn't actually exist, or rather, we don't know it yet. It's not a fact, and nor is it a concrete piece of information. It can't be if it's not known. So we say, no conocen el origen del virus. So all we can really say is that we're not familiar with it. In contrast, se transmite por los mosquitos is actually knowledge that exists, so to speak. Right? We know this, it's factual. So we use saber. Kind of a bit philosophical, isn't it? And this is how you know you're getting into those higher ends of the Spanish language. One of the tricks to using saber and conocer with things is to ask yourself, can I use familiar with, the expression familiar with, instead? Will it make sense? If it does, then stick to conocer. Right, are you ready for something more advanced? In the last part of this video, we're going to have a look at conocer and saber in the past tenses. So first up, let's look at saber, contrasted in two tenses, the preterit and the imperfect. En ese momento, la policía supo quiénes le habían robado. So here what we meant to say is, in that moment the police discovered who had robbed him. Saber means to find out or to discover something in a specific moment when used in the preterit. Supo. La policía sabía quiénes le habían robado. Here we mean the police knew who did it. We're not talking about the moment they found out who did it, but rather just the fact that for a period of time they knew who did it. Sabía. Now lastly, conocer, contrasted in those same two tenses. Conocí a mi novia en la universidad. Here, conocer means I met my girlfriend at university. It was a specific moment in time when I met her, and that's why we use the preterit. It's the very first time we met. La conocía en la universidad. Now, can you see here the verb has changed to the imperfect? And here we don't mean a specific moment in time, because the imperfect is about duration. So here what we're saying is, I knew her at university. For a period of time, I knew who she was, but I'm not talking about the very first time I met her. Conocía. So remember these specific meanings for saber and conocer in the past tenses, and that will help you put them into practice when you're using them in conversation. Okay, so back to our original example. Is it conoces dónde está la tienda, or is it sabes dónde está la tienda? For sure, there's no question, it is sabes dónde está la tienda. You're asking for information, specific information about the store's location. You wouldn't say, are you familiar generally with where the store is? You're asking where it is, simply. If you wanted to use conocer somehow, you'd have to say something like, ¿Conoces la tienda de Doña Rosa? Do you know Doña Rosa's store? Are you familiar with her store? But of course that's a different situation and a different conversation. Muy bien, I hope you found this video helpful for clearing up any doubts you had about saber and conocer. Let me know in the comments if you have any other tips about how to use these tricky verbs. I hope you enjoyed this grammar lesson. Now, to download the full notes for this lesson, please click the link in the video description below, and that will take you to a page where you can sign up for our Spanish Vault and get free access to that and lots of other stuff. Now, if you'd like to test yourself on this grammar point, then check out the next video where we have a little quiz prepared for you. Otherwise, please subscribe to the channel y nos vemos en el próximo.